Assalamualaikum and hi, I am Nur Fareza binti Sahrudin, will be as the presenter 1.
I am Fatizulana binti Hamza and I am as presenter 2.
I am Wikalisa binti Abdul Latif. I am the third presenter.
We will present a study entitled Determining the Profit of Bread Production for a Bakery Through Linear Programming. The disease of novel coronavirus has been spreading rapidly around the world and many countries have declared a state of health emergency. Chaudhry and Paul 2020 also said some businesses have been impacted by the COVID-19, especially food and beverage industries where they face a negative supply stock. Therefore, a factory needs to balance between its product supply and demand during this COVID-19. Why this is very crucial? Because the world is facing a supply and demand shock of goods where people now are on panic buying. Also, many production companies face a problem on how to use the available resources and cannot predict well whether it was sufficient or not for the production to satisfy their customers' needs. Hence, this research uses a linear programming model for a bakery to determine how to get the best result, as we want to set up the relevant constraints regarding cost and resources for the bakery to overcome the shortage or oversupply. As well, we want to maximize the profit by applying linear programming model. As for the impact, they can plan and decide on selecting an optimal production plan. Therefore, sensitivity analysis was used to verify and validate this research.
Methodology. This is our flowchart of methodology. For our methodology, we have 4 phases. For phase 1, we have 2 steps. First step is to define the objective. Step 2, we are adapting the linear programming in the bakery. Phase 2, we have 2 steps. Step 1 is we obtain the data from the journal. Here is the data we obtain. Next is step 2. Step 2 is we analyze the data. Since the data we need is for each bread, but the data we collected is per cycle, hence we calculate the ingredient for each bread for all type of bread. Here is the formula that we use to calculate the bread. And below is the table of the ingredient per bread and cost per day. We also have the table for the cost of production of each bread with the total cost of all bread. And lastly, we have the table of profit and cost production of each bread. To calculate the profit, we use the formula wholesale price minus total cost. For phase 3, we have seed decision variable, which the number of bread produced per day. We also have the constraint. These constraints show that the ingredient per day cannot exceed the stock of ingredient per day. Next is we have the restriction. Restriction for each bread is that the number of bread produced must be 1 and cannot exceed demand per day. Lastly is our objective function, with Z as our maximum profit of bread per day and X is the number of bread produced per day for each type of bread. Phase 4 is we solve the model. For this phase, we use Excel solver to get the optimal solution. Our result is successfully obtained. This figure shows the maximum profit we get after using Excel solver. The optimal solution we get is 47,398 ringgit. Next is the table of used ingredients per day for each constraint. As we can see, there is oversupply for almost all ingredients. Lastly, for our result is demand for each type of bread per day that the daily bakery need to produce in order to get the maximum profit per day.
For sensitivity analysis, by increasing each price of flour, butter, and sugar, the optimal solution of profitability will be decreased. We can summarize that when there is a change in constraints, which is the increasing price of raw material used to produce the bread, the profitability will be decreased while the cost of production increases. As a result, when the price of raw material rises, the bakery needs to raise the wholesale price of each bread to avoid losing money.
In conclusion, the linear programming was used to formulate the problem in the daily bakery industry. The linear programming is useful and simple to use, but it might be challenging if not familiar with the concept. Based on the sensitivity data analysis, if the price of raw material increase, the cost of production of bread may also increase and lead to the increasing price of the bread. Therefore, we came up with some recommendations. First, it is good if it includes many other constraints such as machinery and labor hour. Second, try using other software such as Lingo or MATLAB. Third, try using other mathematical modeling to solve the bread production problems such as integer programming, Go programming, and fuzzy logic.